10 tractors still working while America sleeps on Christmas night. Tractors don't stop for Christmas. While most of America turns off the lights and goes to sleep, some machines are already warming up in the cold. Out on frozen farms, rural roads, and snow-covered yards, tractors are still working. Not because it's a busy night, but because stopping would cause problems by morning. These aren't show machines. They aren't running for tradition or celebration. They're running because animals still need to be fed, because access roads still have to exist, and because winter doesn't care what day it is. Some of these tractors are working for one family, some for an entire farm, and one of them is working at a scale so large that if it stops tonight, the impact is felt far beyond the field. These are the tractors still working while America sleeps on Christmas night. Don't forget to press and hold that like button, leave a comment, and hit subscribe before we begin. Ranked 10th, Kubota L460, the tractor that starts when Christmas night gets quiet. At just past midnight on Christmas Eve, this Kubota L460 is already running. Most of America is asleep. Living rooms are dark. Driveways are buried under fresh snow. But somewhere outside a small rural town, a farmer is already clearing his road before morning. The machine he's trusting tonight isn't big. It isn't flashy, and it will never make headlines. But it has to start. The Kubota L460 wasn't built to impress crowds. It was built for moments exactly like this, when temperatures drop, batteries struggle, and no one is coming to help. On Christmas night, this tractor shows up in places most people never think about. Narrow rural driveways, frozen barnyards, farm lanes that must be opened by sunrise. Its size is its advantage. Small enough to maneuver between buildings, heavy enough to push real snow, simple enough to keep running when conditions turn ugly. Owners rely on the L460 because it doesn't argue with the cold. The diesel warms quickly. The hydraulics respond even after hours of freezing temperatures. And with a front loader or snowblower attached, it turns a silent, snow-covered property back into something usable. This isn't about speed, it's about responsibility. Because livestock still needs feeding in the morning. Deliveries still have to arrive, and someone has to make sure the road exists before the rest of the country wakes up. On Christmas night, the Kubota L460 isn't working for profit. It's working so life can continue as if nothing ever stopped. Quiet, steady, unnoticed. By the time the rest of the country wakes up, this road will already be forgotten, which is exactly how this kind of work is meant to be. Ranked 9th, Massey Ferguson 4707, the tractor that shows up when livestock can't wait. By the time Christmas night settles in, this Massey Ferguson 4707 is already moving between barns. Snow has stopped falling. The countryside is quiet, but the work isn't finished. In the Midwest, livestock doesn't pause for holidays. Cattle still need to be fed, water lines still need checking, and someone has to make the rounds on no matter the date. The 4707 isn't rushing anywhere. It moves slowly through frozen feedlots, headlights cutting across packed snow, engine running steady in the cold. This tractor isn't built for show. It's built for nights when reliability matters more than comfort. Farmers trust the Massey Ferguson 4707 in winter because it stays simple. Less electronics to freeze, less complexity to fail. Just torque, traction, and controls that respond even when temperatures drop hard. On Christmas night, it's often doing the least visible jobs, hauling feed in silence, clearing paths between barns, keeping animals calm and cared for. There's no audience, no applause, just responsibility. Because missing a feeding isn't an option. Animals don't know it's Christmas. They only know whether someone showed up. While families sleep and the countryside goes dark, the Massey Ferguson 4707 keeps moving, steady, dependable, and unnoticed, making sure the next morning starts without problems. Nothing about this work is dramatic, but missing it would change everything by morning. Ranked 8th, New Holland Workmaster 75. The tractor clearing roads before anyone notices they were blocked. Snow piles up quietly on a rural road with no streetlights and no traffic. If this stretch stays blocked until morning, everything behind it stops. That's why the New Holland Workmaster 75 is already out here. There are no streetlights here, no traffic, just wind, cold, and a narrow stretch of pavement that has to be opened by morning. While most of America sleeps, rural roads can't afford to disappear. Milk trucks still run, emergency vehicles still need access, and someone has to make sure those roads exist before sunrise. That's where the Workmaster 75 comes in. It isn't a city plow, it isn't a highway machine. It's the kind of tractor counties and small contractors rely on when budgets are tight and conditions are rough. On nights like this, the Workmaster moves slowly, blade down, clearing packed snow that would shut a road down by morning. Its enclosed cab keeps the operator warm. Its visibility keeps the job precise, even in drifting snow and darkness. This tractor is trusted because it's predictable. The engine doesn't hesitate in the cold. The hydraulics respond without drama. And when snow piles up faster than expected, it just keeps pushing. There's no ceremony to this kind of work. No one sees it happening. But when families wake up on Christmas morning and drive out without thinking twice, it's because machines like this worked through the night, quietly, methodically, without anyone watching. The new Holland Workmaster 75 doesn't make headlines. It makes sure roads don't become a problem. Most people will never realize these roads were ever at risk. That's the point. Ranked 7. John Deere 5075. E. The tractor called in when winter leaves no backup. Something didn't go according to plan tonight. Waiting until daylight isn't an option, and there's no backup machine nearby. So the John Deere 5075E gets the call. A power line is down, a gate is frozen shut, a section of the farm can't wait until morning. In rural America, winter problems don't follow schedules. And when there's no backup crew and no spare machine nearby, the tractor that starts becomes the tractor that matters. That's why the 5075E shows up on nights like this. It's not the biggest Deere in the lineup, but it's one farmers trust when conditions are uncertain and time is tight. The 5075E is often used for emergency work, pulling equipment out of snow, hauling loads when power's out, keeping basic farm operations moving through the night. Its strength isn't speed or luxury, it's familiarity. Controls farmers know by muscle memory, systems that don't surprise you in the cold, and a machine that feels predictable when everything else isn't. On Christmas night, predictability is everything, because animals still need care, because frozen equipment still needs moving, because waiting until daylight isn't always an option. While most of the country sleeps, the John Deere 5075E keeps doing exactly what it was asked to do. No drama, no delay, no excuses. It doesn't turn emergencies into stories. It keeps them from becoming problems. When winter problems stay small, it's usually because something handled them early. Ranked 6, Kubota M7060. The tractor that keeps the snow moving all night. The snow keeps drifting back faster than it can be cleared. One pass isn't enough, and stopping isn't ideal either. This is where the Kubota M7060 settles in for a long night. The driveway is long, the wind keeps drifting snow back in, and the job won't be finished by a single pass. This is the kind of night that separates light-duty machines from tractors built to stay working. The M7060 earns its place here because it's often paired with heavy winter equipment, front-mounted blowers, rear PTO snow throwers, and attachments that don't forgive weak power delivery. On nights like this, the tractor runs for hours. The PTO stays engaged. The engine holds steady RPM, and the operator doesn't have to stop every time the snow piles higher than expected. That consistency matters more than speed, because in winter, stopping means freezing, and restarting heavy equipment in the cold isn't always guaranteed. Farmers and rural contractors trust the M7060 because it doesn't fade as the night goes on. The hydraulics stay responsive, the drivetrain keeps pulling, and the cab remains a warm, functional workspace while the storm refuses to quit. This isn't about clearing snow for convenience, it's about access, getting feed trucks through, keeping lanes open for morning deliveries, making sure the property doesn't disappear under drifting snow before dawn. While most of America sleeps through the storm, the Kubota M7060 keeps cycling snow out of the way, methodical, relentless, and built to last through the night. It doesn't rush the job, it finishes it. The storm doesn't end when the snow stops falling. It ends when the work is finished. Ranked 5th, case IH Farmall 75A. The tractor that shows up because livestock has no holidays. This job happens every day, no matter what the calendar says. The routine doesn't change just because it's a holiday. So the case IH Farmall 75A keeps moving through the barnyard. The lights are low, the air is sharp, and the animals are waiting. In livestock country, holidays don't change the routine. Cattle still need to be fed, pens still need clearing, and frozen ground doesn't make the work optional. That's why the Farmall 75A is running tonight. This tractor isn't built for spectacle, it's built for repetition. The same jobs every day, no matter the date. On nights like this, it works close to the barns, carrying feed in steady loads, scraping frozen manure from walkways, keeping animals calm and cared for through the cold. Its value is in how little attention it demands. The controls are straightforward, the power delivery is predictable, and the tractor responds the same way at midnight as it does at noon. That reliability matters when the temperature drops and fatigue sets in. Because in winter, mistakes cost time, and time costs warmth. Farmers trust the Farmall 75A because it doesn't complicate the night. It does the job, then it does the next one. While families unwrap gifts and roads stay quiet, this tractor keeps a different kind of promise. That animals will be fed, barns will stay functional, and the morning will arrive without problems. The case IH Farmall 75A doesn't know it's Christmas. It only knows there's work to be done. Animals won't remember the night, but they'll feel the difference in the morning. Ranked 4th, John Deere 6.180M. The tractor built for long winter shifts that don't end early. The shift has already been going on for hours. Distances are longer here, and the work doesn't wrap up quickly. That's why the John Deere 6.180M is still out in the cold. The farm is bigger here. The distances are longer, and the work doesn't wrap up quickly. While smaller machines finish their jobs and shut down, tractors like the 6.180M keep moving because large operations don't pause for holidays. This is the kind of tractor used when winter tasks stretch through the night, hauling feed across wide yards, moving equipment between buildings, keeping operations flowing while temperatures stay locked below freezing. What sets the 6.180M apart isn't raw power, it's endurance. The cab is built for long hours, warm, quiet, and stable enough that fatigue doesn't take over too soon. Controls are laid out for operators who know they'll be here a while. On nights like this, comfort becomes a tool, because when a shift runs long, clear visibility matters, steady handling matters, and a machine that doesn't wear its operator down matters most of all. Farm managers rely on tractors like the 6.180M because they don't just start in the cold. They stay workable as the night drags on. No overheating, no stiff controls, no surprises when attention starts to fade. While most of America sleeps through Christmas night, this tractor keeps large farms running quietly in the background, making sure the scale of the operation doesn't turn winter into a problem. The John Deere 6.180M isn't dramatic. It's dependable over time. Long shifts don't make headlines. They make sure large operations keep working. Ranked 3rd, New Holland T6.180, the tractor holding the line between snow and shutdown. These roads don't belong to one farm. They connect towns, suppliers, and entire communities. And tonight, the New Holland T6.180 is keeping them open. The job here isn't a driveway or a barnyard, it's infrastructure. Rural highways, industrial access roads, long stretches of pavement that, if left untouched, cut communities off by morning. While families sleep, contractors move out, because by sunrise, those roads have to exist. That's where the T6.180 comes in. This tractor is built for scale, enough power to push heavy snow, enough weight to keep traction when conditions turn slick, and enough stability to run attachments that demand consistency hour after hour. On nights like this, the work doesn't come in short bursts. It comes in long, grinding passes. Blade down, speed steady, lights fixed on the line ahead. Operators trust the T6.180 because it stays composed under pressure. The drivetrain doesn't surge. The hydraulics don't hesitate, and the cab remains a controlled space while everything outside turns hostile. This is where winter work stops being routine and starts becoming critical. Because if these roads close, supply chains stall, emergency access disappears, and small failures become big problems. While most of America sleeps through Christmas night, the new Holland T6.180 keeps holding that line, pushing snow back just enough to keep everything moving. It doesn't make winter disappear, it keeps it from taking over. If these machines slow down, entire communities feel it before breakfast. Ranked second, Case IH Maxxum 125. The tractor that gets called when failure isn't an option. There's a load that can't stay where it is until morning. If it doesn't move tonight, tomorrow starts with a problem. That pressure is why the Case IH Maxxum 125 is already working. This isn't routine farm work. This is recovery, a delivery that has to reach a farm before morning, equipment that needs relocating before temperatures drop further, a problem that won't wait until daylight. When winter pressure builds, tractors like the Maxxum 125 get the call. It's trusted because it sits in the narrow space between utility and heavy duty. Powerful enough to pull serious weight, agile enough to maneuver in tight, frozen conditions. On nights like this, torque matters, traction matters, and consistency matters most of all. The Maxxum 125 is often working with trailers and attachments that don't forgive hesitation. Loads are heavy, surfaces are slick, and every stop risks losing momentum, or worse, losing control. Operators rely on this tractor because it stays composed when the work turns tense. Throttle response stays smooth, power delivery stays predictable, and the machine feels stable even when conditions aren't. This is winter work with consequences. Because if the load doesn't arrive, animals go without feed. Operations fall behind, and small delays turn into bigger emergencies. While most of the country sleeps through Christmas night, the Case IH Maxxum 125 keeps pulling forward, quietly absorbing pressure so the system doesn't crack. It doesn't solve winter, it keeps winter from winning. Some nights don't allow second chances. This is how those nights get through. In first place, John Deere 8R Series, the tractor that keeps America running when everything else shuts down. While most of the country has gone quiet, the largest machines in American agriculture are still moving. Not on one farm, not in one town. Across entire regions, the John Deere 8R Series is still working. Because if these machines stop, America feels it by morning. This isn't a driveway. This isn't a barnyard. This is large-scale agriculture and infrastructure that cannot afford to stop. While families sleep, machines like the 8R are moving grain, clearing access routes, powering logistics, and keeping winter from freezing operations in place. This is the tractor used when the margin for error disappears. The 8R isn't chosen because it's impressive. It's chosen because it's expected. Expected to start in extreme cold. Expected to pull heavy loads without hesitation, expected to run through long winter shifts while everything else shuts down. On nights like this, the work is relentless. Miles instead of yards, hours instead of minutes, consequences instead of inconvenience. Operators rely on the 8R because it holds steady under scale. Power delivery stays controlled, traction stays planted, systems stay responsive even as the night stretches on. This is where winter work becomes national in scope. Because when these machines stop, supply chains feel it, food systems feel it, entire regions feel it. While most of America sleeps through Christmas night, the John Deere 8R Series keeps the background systems alive, quietly absorbing the weight of responsibility that most people never see. It doesn't celebrate the holiday, it doesn't slow down for it. It simply does the work that allows everything else to start again in the morning. And that's why it stands at the top of this list. Not as the loudest tractor, not as the flashiest, but as the one that keeps America moving when the country goes quiet. While America sleeps, these machines don't. And by morning, most people will never know how close things came to stopping. By the time morning comes, most people won't know what worked through the night. The roads will be open, the animals will be fed, deliveries will arrive as if nothing ever stood in the way. And that's the point. These tractors don't work for attention. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't stop just because the country does. They run quietly in the cold and the dark, so everything else can start again without interruption. While America sleeps, these machines keep the system alive, and by the time anyone notices, the work is already done.